Hi, I'm Dominique Coleman, and I'm at Vision Recording Studios here in Naugatuck, Connecticut, to talk with Graven Image about their upcoming CD release, The Future Started Yesterday. This is a question for the entire band. Can you tell me a little bit about Graven Image and how the band was formed?
I'd go to you.
Yeah, it probably would go to me, huh? I started writing some music and was trying to get some people to actually play with me. I was putting stuff on Facebook, and basically my friend Johnny Lyson heard it, and we started recording some stuff. And after that, we ended up getting Phil. He came in and started playing some drums with us, and we had a different singer and a different band at the time, and it's evolved into what you see right here.
Martin, maybe you could talk a little bit about your upcoming CD?
Well, it didn't take us that long to do, but it took a while getting everything together with all the people involved, you know, from meeting these two, and then Andy coming on board, and then finally in the final mix of it all, Scott throwing in some extra stuff that we didn't anticipate initially when we started the whole process. But coming into Vision, I mean, it's the way the CD evolved and came together. It's just like seamless. It's just amazing. It's surprising me how it's actually coming out.
How long did that process take?
When we started writing it, the whole recording process.
Yeah, the whole recording process.
We were probably in here, what, a good month?
Yeah, I'd say a
Month
month, maybe two, on and off. You know, we did the acoustic stuff first a while back, and then we came back in to do all of the heavy songs, and then yeah, it was probably about a month.
Yeah.
Martin, your vocal ability is mind-blowing. Have you been formally trained?
No. I get asked that a lot, but no. Just formal training is around the house, yelling and screaming and singing, and basically no, not at all.
So who's the musical mastermind that writes all the music for the band?
That's Paul.
I don't know about a musical mastermind. I don't even know what key I'm playing in half the time, but you know what? The God's honest truth of that is all I do is present the skeleton. These guys put all the meat and bones on it, and it's a band thing. You know, we have an idea, we come with a presented idea. What I come to the table with, it's completely rearranged and changed when we come down to it anyway. So I think it's a whole group thing.
Yeah, you'll bring something out, and well, initially he would bring stuff to me, and I would just rip it apart, put it back together in little pieces.
We'd make him think he put it back together.
Yeah, well, we'd formulate. You know, it ended up with the songs that we have today, essentially. Yeah.
So what is the songwriting process like for you, and how is this record different from some of the other music out there today?
That's a two-part question.
That's a good question.
Good one, right?
Yeah.
Which side that you want to tackle first? I can tell you how it's different.
You go with that, and I'll follow you on.
How it's different is, you know, everything that we kind of hear out there kind of really sounds the same. It's kind of, you know, everyone's going for that real heavy vocal line and the same repetitive heaviness. We tried to go backwards a little bit. We tried to go back into some of our roots into, you know, like Iron Maiden and Pink Floyd, and, you know, you've got some Metallica and Megadeth, but having a real diverse mix of songs where every single song sounds different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely songs that we have that are heavy enough to be the same as a lot of the bands locally that are going for that heavier style, but we want to try to be more melodic too, and showcase the band in a different light, not necessarily you hear the same song every single time you see the band or listen to the CD. On this CD, there's so much diversity going on between heavy, you know, melodic, acoustic, and, you know, little things in between, but it's just very different, and it does take from all our influences as well.
Paul, your guitar playing is intense, and you're absolutely amazing on stage. When did you start taking guitar lessons?
I think that's a question for Scott. He's the amazing one. Guitar lessons, I've never taken a real lesson in my entire life. Some people have showed me some things, and you know, basically just, I don't even really think I'm that good of a player, to be honest with you. I just come to what's mine and play, and as far as being intense, I don't even think I'm that intense on stage. Once again, I think that's a question for Scott.
I mean, as far as like what playing goes and everything, I've been playing since I was 12. Lessons were sporadic from a lot of different people and different sources, predominantly like more classically oriented, and that's where all the theory and that kind of stuff comes from. But it all starts with Paul. Everything that he writes is the foundation of everything we do.
So for you and Paul, what guitar sections are you most proud of on the album?
Favorite songs? Go ahead, Scott. You can take that first.
I really like Will the Decay. that's got a little bit of everything in it, and in one song. It's got a lot of diversity, and it's got a lot of excellent musicianship. And I also really like Demons. That's just fun to play. My two favorites.
My favorite probably is Twisted and Broken, to be honest with you. There's a lot of personal stuff behind that song, and it was actually the first really song that we actually brought to the table and really started writing. It's gone through about 3 different changes, and by far the version that's going to be on this album is the best. It's just, that's always been a fun song.
Yeah, that's a song that evolved. Well, first time I heard it, it was essentially just an acoustic song, the first part of the song that you normally would hear. And I listened to it in my car at least 40, 50 times. I'm like, there's more to this song somewhere. So we started just hashing it out and you know, writing more of it. And I wrote the second half lyrically and put it all together. And yeah, it's probably one of my favorite songs, but I think World of Decay is probably my favorite.
There's a lot to this album that I think is going to be a surprise when it comes out. We've been trying to keep that back, but initially when we started writing some of the stuff, some of our feelings were coming together. We started realizing we had a little bit of a theme going, so we kind of put that together to tell a little bit of a story, and I think it's going to be an interesting thing when it comes out. I don't want to say too much more than that.
Yeah, it's definitely it's going to be an album that people are going to have to sit back and think about, because a lot of people might be able to actually put themselves in the situation of this album itself. And it's not, you know, Paul always says it's not an album to bang your head against or bang your head with. It's one where you actually have to use your head, because you have to think about it when you listen to the whole thing in entirety, right from start to finish. Some people will definitely find themselves being part of what this album is, but there's a definite story here.
Did the recent presidential elections influence the songwriting at all?
The elections were over. We were done.
The elections were over. I mean, I guess in some of the songs that we do have, there is an underlying political thread, which could go across any elections anywhere to, you know, anywhere in the world, whatnot. But definitive, there's only one song, 1600, that's really definitive, you know, as far as political is concerned, because it's a direct correlation to, you know, 1600.
But we wanted to draw a real fine line to that too, though. We didn't want to come off as Republican or Democrat. We didn't want to make up your mind for you. It's just a basic broad stroke of what we think's going on. It's not against or for anybody.
Yeah, we have no opinion as far as, you know,
we barely play music.
Right and left. Yeah, exactly. I mean, between right and left, we don't have an opinion. We're just taking everything and putting it into one shell and then throwing it back at people.
I know if I do this, it makes an L. That means that's my left.
Yeah.
That's about as far as I can go with it.
It's kind of like timeless. It's something that's not written for a specific era, really.
That's
it
true.
Sort of can take place any period of time, really.
Yeah,
it's about a person, really.
It's a broad enough generalization that it could be
anytime.
Yeah, anytime.
Scott, you're the recent addition to Graven Image. How are you fitting into the band?
I fitting in great. We knew each other before I came on board, so that actually made things a lot easier, and it actually feels like it's not really that new. It feels like something that we've been doing for quite a while. It's completely natural and very, very comfortable.
Absolutely.
And how is this band different from other bands that you've been in?
One thing I like, and probably what I like most about this band, is the fact that everybody is almost like family.
Yeah.
It's not the kind of thing where it's almost like a work environment. It isn't that at all. It's more like just, you know, hanging out with your friends and just, you know, hanging out with the guys that you'd probably be hanging out with anyway. And you just happen to coincidentally be playing some music at the same time. And that makes it so much more comfortable and so much more natural that it makes everything easy.
You know what? And that level too is we've gone through quite a few lineup changes as it's going around, and you know, for all the guys that have been in this band, we wouldn't be here if they weren't here at one point. But this by far is the best feeling as far as the band is concerned. I wouldn't want to play with anybody else. This is the definitive lineup in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martin, you're from Ireland. Do you have any influences from back home?
Probably, well, there's a few. I mean, Thin Lizzy, obviously, is a big influence of mine.
Guinness.
Being under the influence.
Yeah, being under the influence. Yeah, Gary Moore, another Irish, great. Rory Gallagher, all those. I grew up listening to all of that, and there was a lot of bands in Ireland growing up that never made it outside of Ireland, which was a shame because a lot of them are really, really good. But you know, they just never broke out of the market. But yeah, the big names that you would know are definitely some of my big influences from there.
Is Graven Image getting any radio play out in Ireland?
They're getting some radio play in the UK with acoustic, some of the acoustic tracks that I've sent to them. There's a radio station that I've been sending stuff to, and some of my older stuff, and they were playing that. So I've been sending them some of the newer stuff just to give them an idea of what we're doing. So, but as soon as the album comes out, they all want copies. So
signed copies,
and they want signed copies too.
Cool.
So I'm like, okay.
Phil, your drumming skills and energy on stage are just out of this world. I know you've been in several bands over the years. What makes Graven Image stand out from the rest of the bands you've been in?
I've been in quite a few, you're right. This guy here, the first time we played together, there was a chemistry happening, and I felt that the energy that he brings. When Martin came aboard, basically when we were talking the first time, we had an earthquake. So that says some power over there again. When Andy came in, it was like long brother that I haven't had. I mean, we went through some bass players and this and that, but he just makes me want to play. And as far as Scott basically is just like, it seems like I've been playing with him ever since I've been playing with Paul. And it just feels good. I mean, I wouldn't want to play, put it this way, if Graven Image was to break up tomorrow, I probably wouldn't play for a long time, or maybe even quit, because this band here means so much to me, because there is so much about everyone, what we've gone through in life and everything like that, and we're just bringing the music out, and it's just, I just want to drive the band, and that's all, you know. That's where I get my craziness from. I'm starting to open my eyes though on stage, though. I'm not closing them anymore, so.
One of my personal favorites on the album is Twisted and Broken. Andy, what's your personal favorite on the album?
I like that song a lot. I think that's probably going to be one of the hits, quote unquote, maybe. Who knows? But I mean, I like One Mistake a lot. The energy of that song, the lyrics, you know, that song kind of makes me, like, I'm a fan. You know, before I joined this band, when I listened to the music, I became a fan of the band before I even joined it, you know? So that's probably like my favorite tune. Oh boy, a lot of influences. I would say Pete Way from UFO, Steve Harris, and, you know, Geddy Lee, who he doesn't really move around a lot on stage, but really love his playing. John Entwistle, you know, Geezer from Black Sabbath, you know, plus a lot of other influences too.
Paul, do you have any influences?
Yeah, I got a couple. You know, for me, it all starts and ends with Randy Rhoads. You know, from the very first time I heard that dude play 30 years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to be able to play like that one day. I'm still working on that.
You getting there?
Yeah, getting closer, getting closer. You know, a lot. I mean, I love Jimmy Page. You know, I'm a big fan of like Yngwie. You know, there's just so many guys you can go up and Dave Mustaine, huge influence. You know, I think he's probably the most talented songwriter I've ever heard. You know, just a long list of great guitar players. You know, there has to be a feel to what's going on with me. It's not just all about, you know, taking off and stopping. There's got to, you know, there's a lot of great guys, man.
Did the band have a timetable for your next studio album?
Timetable, I don't think so. I mean, once we get this out, you know, December 15th, it'll be basically trying to play the show after show after show, you know, showcasing it. But I don't know. I mean, we could probably start another one, you know, next month, knowing us. You know, we basically, I mean, if the two of us get together, you'll have another album, you know, before you know it. Because just we have so many ideas that we throw around, and I would say probably we'll get past this one, and then probably by the end of next year maybe start putting another one together.
The honest truth, man, is I've probably got, and I record all my song ideas, guys got the videos, I've probably got 30 or 40 ready to go. So I mean, it's just, personally, I'd like to start doing some new stuff with Scott and bringing that element into the band, because everything really started to change when you have that second set of hands and that second mind.
Yeah.
I really can't wait to start putting some new stuff. We've actually quietly started writing some stuff that these guys really haven't heard too much of yet, so I don't.
That's super secret.
Yeah.
What is that process like for you, Tom?
It's a different process because Scott brings a different element to the band because I've always done this as a one guitar player. So I'm constantly always trying to fill things up. Having that second set of hands and that second mind and knowing that you don't have to do as much and you could do even more. It's a really cool process. Plus, his education value on music is so far beyond mine that I can just play something. He's going to play it in 6 different spots. I'm still trying to figure out the original spot.
It just puts a whole new dynamic on the music itself, because even for me, I have to step back sometimes and listen to the songs that we were doing just with Paul playing, and then when I listen to what Scott's throwing on there, I'm like, let me step back and see exactly, is this the same song? Because I'm not used to hearing all these parts, but the dynamic of the music is actually changing, but it's remaining the same as like the Graven image sound, but there's so much more that I think we can do with it now. It opens up a whole lot more possibilities.
I think we really have to be fair about that too. In Scott's previous band, Agrippa '93, he wrote everything. So you're adding this second writer into the mix, and it's evolving. I think we're just barely scratching the surface of what the next album is going to sound like. I think it's going to get a lot more progressive. It's going to get a lot more. This album's kind of raw. I think it's going to get a lot more polished, and that's probably going to be more him than me.
There's a lot of passion to the music. What inspires you guys?
Life. Right?
Yeah, plus
life.
Yeah, I mean, plus the love of playing music. I mean, it's like
what you're doing too.
Yeah, you have to like what you're doing, but yeah, life basically drives you. I mean, you have
Things
to.
that happens, experiences.
Yeah, you have to throw yourself into the role of being like the entertainer essentially, but at the same time you have to take yourself and everybody else with you and just try and make it a better show.
I think the thing I liked about the songs before I joined the band was that I could tell that not only were they personal, but the way they were written was with passion and from the heart. So it wasn't something made up, like a character made up in somebody's mind or a subject made up. So I could sense that. So that's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
There's a lyric in Demons goes, "Life starts, broken parts, pieces everywhere," that Martin wrote, and I think that's a big thing to what's going on here. I think we're all a bunch of misfits cast out from a whole bunch of areas.
I even have that tattooed right on my arm.
It does.
So it's like yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is. I mean, what that means, for all of us, it's kind of, we're all in life, and you have little pieces of you everywhere that you've touched people's lives or whatever, but you've left pieces of you everywhere. So that's essentially what, this band is. We're all a bunch of misfits. We got together and we make music, but we've all come from completely different backgrounds, and it's, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that it
Understatement.
worked. It was like we all gelled together, which was pretty amazing.
We've got a lot of common ground though.
Yeah.
In a lot of other areas. The bands, our histories are very, very eclectic, very diverse, but at the same time, we could sit down, hang out, go have a bite, go for a burger, whatever, and spend hours just hanging out and never have a lapse in conversation, never be lost for something to say, and everything's totally comfortable because we get along, because we do have a lot of common ground between us.
Yeah, and I think that all culminates into what you hear when you go to see us play live, or hopefully when you listen to the CD, it'll all make sense to a lot of people. Here's a bunch of guys just got together making this music, and we love it. So and hopefully it shows in the product when people finally get it. But so far people like what we're doing, so